morning, Nicholas.
Hello.
But you can, as you can see, there are not that many in the big classroom because we have information week. So that will take away a lot of human resource. But I guess it's okay. We can just let the people who are in the big classroom to speak more.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Winnie, would you like to start? Hello.
Hello, Nicholas.
How has your week been, Winnie?
I think I read English book all week.
That's very good. I read. So it's spelled the same. So I read a book. Actually, if that was present tense, so that's past tense, Winnie, I read a book. If you were in the act of reading a book, what's the present tense? So how would you change that to present tense?
I'm reading a book.
That's right, I'm reading a book. All right. Well, can you reading this, please? He's thumping his finger. It should be two gets there. He's thumping his finger to get the attention of the waiter. Tap, cross, shrugged or clicked.
Clicked.
Yes, that will do. Now, Winnie, what's the name of this finger?
小指。怎么讲？我忘记了。是吗？是这样吗？我不知道，我忘记。Is it small finger?
No, it's the little finger, not the small finger, the little finger.
Okay.
And what's this one?
你看他写 ring finger.
That's the ring finger, correct. And this one? Think of its position.
Middle finger.
That's right, the middle finger. Now, I think Pearl said the name of this one before.
Index finger.
Index finger. The reason it's called index. Well, do you know what an index is, Winnie?
什么叫 index? 数据要怎么讲 ？fingerprint.
I'm just going to show you a picture if I can find one. All right, here, this will do. Winnie, do you know what this is? What these are?
Is this in the library?
That's good. How did you know that?
I had seen it in the library, but I never used it.
Okay. Now, well, most of these are gone now. But these are cards, and each one has a book on it. So a book, it'll be the book title, its code, and who wrote it, and so on. Now, these are called index cards. And when you were looking for something, you'd have to use your index finger to flick through each card. So each card you'd use your index finger to move it. Do you understand?
Yes.
That's why we call it the index finger. Okay, and what's this one called?
Thumb.
Yeah, how do you spell it?
THUMB.
Yes. Don't help them so much, girl. They should do it themselves. Especially
You
when
can always
very
hear
good.
me, right?
Very good. Not always.
You didn't. Well, you didn't see. They use their eyes to ask for help. You know, they look at me.
Yes, well, Winnie always looks across. All right. Thank you, Winnie. Rita.
Hi, Nicholas.
I'm sure you won't be as good as Winnie. Right. Whenever she sat down, she something her knees.
Cross.
Hold it cross, shrug your click. Yeah, that's right, cross the knees. What does... Actually, no. How many knees have you got?
2.
Good. Just a minute. I'm going to show you a picture. What is this bit of the knee called? So the bit that sticks out. It's got a special name. Is the knee something?
Kneecap.
That's right, the kneecap. If you ever thought, what is it? What is a kneecap? Or if you like, what's it made of?
Bone.
Yeah, and you can actually break it. So if you fall on your kneecap, you get a fracture. And it's very, very painful. My mother broke my kneecap about 25 years ago.
Wow.
And they removed it and they put a false kneecap in. So they have special kneecaps for you. Just a minute. Trying to find a picture of a plastic kneecap. Can't find one. No, they're not going to show me. But you can put a plastic kneecap in though, and it just allows you to, to walk properly. Okay. Now, what have you been doing this week, Rita?
I did report, English report.
Oh, that's very good. What was that for?
This lesson.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Rita.
Okay.
Minchi.
Hello.
Minchi, if you don't know the answer to a question, you can something your shoulders.
Shrug?
That's right. If you shrug your shoulders, what does that mean? What does that indicate?
It means that somebody who don't know the answer.
That's right. Now, if I tell you that it's a cross-cultural gesture, I just typed it there. What does that mean, a cross-cultural gesture?
I don't know.
Well, what does cultural mean?
Cross. You mean
So what
cross?
does cultural mean?
Cultural.
Yeah.
Cultural means. I don't know how to say.
Well, try. All right. What's culture?
Okay. Culture. The something of the country or.
Yes. That'll do. Now, is culture a noun or an adjective?
No.
Correct. So what is cultural, noun or adjective?
Adjective.
All right. So cultural is describing something in your culture.
Oh,
So
okay.
you might say bubble tea is a Taiwanese cultural drink. I don't know whether that's true. Now, what is a gesture?
Gesture. I don't know.
Okay. Can somebody tell him?
Nobody tell me.
All right, I'll tell you, shrugging your shoulders is a gesture. Waving your hands is a gesture. So a gesture is something you do to indicate something. Okay? So now, if I say crosses cultures, so this gesture crosses cultures, what do you think that means?
Crosses culture
Yes.
means maybe two culture pass together.
Yes. So Taiwanese and let's say Australian. Shrugging your shoulders means the same in both cultures. So in Taiwanese and Australian culture, if you shrug your shoulders, it means I don't know. Okay, so a cross-cultural gesture is a gesture understood by both cultures. Okay?
Okay.
But you should know that phrase. It's quite common. Okay? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Chen. You're the only Chen here today.
Hello, Nicholas.
Are you quite scary?
No.
That's good. He was quite scary. He something his fist and looked me in the eye. Clenched, cross-clicked, or folded his fist.
Clench.
That's right, clench. That just means you make a fist. Now, how would you describe this man?
Muscle.
You
Very
need more than
strong.
muscle. So if you were trying to tell me, I can't see, I'm blind. So how are you going to describe that man to me?
He looks like strong and full with
All right, there's
full
another
muscle.
one. Looks like this man. Now, can you? There is a word that, or a phrase that describes people like this. Do you know who it might be? It's a something builder. Well, it's called bodybuilding, and you can say that this is a, if you like, a muscle builder or a bodybuilder. Okay, so they call it a bodybuilder. Now, do you think this is cross-cultural? Remember what we were saying? Do you think this happens in Taiwan or China, perhaps? This is bodybuilding. Do you think bodybuilding is, does that happen in your country?
No, it's not me. But it's okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Chen. Shelley.
Hello.
Do women find people like this attractive?
他问我有没有看过这样的。No.
Oh, what would you like? Somebody fat?
Little fatter.
A little fatter. That's a good answer. I agree. Now, let me get back to those. Here we are. So can you do the next one for me? So if music has a good rhythm, what does that mean, music having a rhythm, Shelley?
The music is very good.
Yeah, it's very good. So it sounds good. It's we say in time. So in time means its rhythm is okay. And it sounds good to you. That's a reasonable answer. Now, if music has a good rhythm, you might something your foot. Click, cross, shrug, or tap.
Click.
No.
哪一个？好。Tap.
That's right, tap. Now, so if you tap your foot, it just means you make a little sort of tapping sound with your foot. So you're tapping in time with the rhythm or the music. Now, tap has two meanings. So it's a verb here. Now, if the noun of tap, what is a tap? A tap.
Faucet.
All right. And what comes out of the faucet?
Water.
Yeah, some sort of water, right? Now, if I give you a tap on your shoulder, what does that mean? So if I tap you on your shoulder, what does that mean?
He want to call me.
That's right. So they want to get your attention. Okay. Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you.
Nick.
Oh yeah.
Nick, there's a phrase in English we said, this person nicked my phone. I've just typed it there. What do you think that means? This person nicked my phone. So in other words, it's a slang verb, and it says to nick. What does to nick mean? If you nick something.
No idea.
Well, try and look at the sentence and try and get it from the meaning. So this person nicked my phone. I'll give you something. And is now wanted by the police. Can you get the meaning from that sentence? So this person nicked. It should be my phone, not my phone. So my phone, and is now wanted by the police. So what do you think nick means?
Steal?
Yep. So to nick means to steal. Now, if you want to put it in that sentence, this person something my phone. Now, it's not steal my phone. What's the past tense of steal?
Stole.
That's right. So this person stole my phone, and if you nick something, that's a slang word meaning you pinched it. If you pinch something, that's another slang word for steal. So that's two slang words for steal. He pinched something or he nicked it. They're not that uncommon, those words. Now, I'm sure you don't nick anything apart from your name. When my mother was very cross, what's cross? So if your mother is cross, how is she feeling? This lady's cross.
Angry?
That's right. So when my mother was angry, she used to something her arms. Fold, clench, rub, or tap.
Fold her arms.
Yep. Fold her arms. Now, did your mother ever fold her arms, or did she just hit you?
She'll just beat me up.
We call it spanking. So your mother hitting you is spanking you with her hand. She's hitting you. Are parents still allowed to hit their children in Taiwan? So are parents still allowed to hit their children in Taiwan for being naughty?
It depends, I guess. If you notice, if someone see it or report it, you got in trouble.
All right. If a child reports their parents for hitting them, will the police charge the parents?
I think it will start an investigation first before the police take it.
Well, in Australia, it's absolutely against the law. You can't hit anybody. They get very upset if you hit your children here.
Okay. What if the kids hit the parents?
That happens. And they'll charge the child.
Okay.
So it's sort of equal. Equal rights for both. Thanks, Nick.
Okay.
Now, this is carrying on what we started last week.
Nicholas?
Yes.
Let's talk about that child and parent right. How old is a child, to be for being, investigated if they are, mean to their parents?
Well, generally, the age, they call it the age of reason, I think, is considered as round about 10. At the age of reason means that you know bad and good. You know the difference between bad and good. And in Australia, in the courts, it's usually the age of 10 years. So if you're 10, you should know the difference between bad and good. That's what they say. I think it's earlier than this, but what about Taiwan?
I was just wondering that these days many kids in the United States accidentally shot their parents, by pulling their guns out of their parents' pocket or purse. And when will they be charged or fined? Or they will be treated as...
It depends on the circumstances.
Okay.
But, if you have a known violent child, if the child was known to the police and he or she shot their parents, they would look at the case very carefully, because there's a lot of violent children in the United States. That's because of their gun culture. There are a lot of, disturbed children. It means they've got mental problems. And that's because of the gun culture they push in the States, or I think it is.
Saying that the gun culture is the cause of all this disturbed children?
I think it's the general attitude with the gun culture.
Okay.
I have the right to buy a gun. I have the right to use it.
And have a right to protect myself.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, that's right. Okay.
Very difficult. And also, when you were a child, Pearl, I presume your parents could hit you if you were bad?
Yes. My sister, my elder brother. Okay.
Yeah. Go on.
My
what did they do?
Okay. No, they didn't hit me because I did well in class, in school. But my brother and my elder sister, they are really, they terrify me the way my parents treat them. My father was, educated with a Japanese way, and my elder brother's hands were tied up, and he's like hung on the beam of the house, and my father whipped him. Like a prisoner.
But he never did it again.
No, but at that time my brother was like 11 years old. That old, but still he had to obey my father, just because he didn't do well in class, in school.
Yeah, I think today.
Not anymore.
Children have too many rights.
Okay.
And that's one of the I don't know about in Taiwan. But here, what we call juvenile justice.
But this...
Less than 16, yeah?
But I don't know, but perhaps, in the past, maybe it's hidden in the closet. But these days, there are many young parents who mistreated their babies. They torture them. They even chop them. Once the babies are dead, they try to dismember the body so that they won't be seen. I mean, such cruelty happening in younger parents today because they are disturbed youth. They didn't have a job, and they became parents too young, too early, because of the open attitude to sex. So, when the children's right is noticed, I think the crime rate committed by their parents is also rising.
I agree. And the trouble is, it's not going to change in the immediate future. It would take a generation, even if there were changes now, before things would improve. So it's a difficult problem.
Another thing is many parents here, they think their children are their property. If they want to commit suicide, they took their children along with them.
Yeah.
I guess, so that's...
here too.
Really?
We had
Westerner?
a case in Brisbane this week where a father killed his wife and their 11-year-old daughter.
11.
This was
okay.
This was yesterday. And he shot them both. And then he shot himself. So we call it a murder suicide.
Okay. And was he?
We get these every several times a year.
Okay. And this is Caucasian family?
Yes. And it was there was domestic abuse involved.
Okay.
Ask one of them what that means. Domestic abuse or domestic violence.
什么是 domestic abuse 吗 ？What's domestic abuse? 可以的话就什么？ They do. Because we had, 你觉得 domestic violence 有没有很普遍？在台湾？还好吧，哈。啊？你们觉得呢？可能还好。Because women this day, Taiwanese women are also very strong. They can fight back. Yes, the domestic violence does exist, but perhaps not that prevalent like in the West.
Or not? You mean it's not as obvious? I'm sure it goes on.
I think so. But sometimes it's not that easy for them to tell.
No, well that's the problem.
But now there are channels for them, for women to go to.
In Brisbane we have what's called safe houses, where if you experience domestic violence, this is man or woman, if you experience domestic violence from your partner, you can leave the home and go to a safe house. And they're special houses that they're hidden, are not known, so their partners can't find them. So they can stay in a safe house for a few weeks until they can find somewhere else to live, separate from their husband or wife or partner.
Don't you think there may be people who want free meal and housing by going there?
You must have a good history.
On your
Don't just let you in.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so French bakers, remember this from last week. We've got 4 French bakers were found guilty of, found guilty of working too much and hit with fines, prompting a national debate over their desire to stay open. So they want to stay open, and they've been fined for staying open, and they have flouted 1999 order that said you must close for 1 day a week. A 5th baker was acquitted last week. That means he's found not guilty. So if you're acquitted, you're found not guilty. The bakers say the ruling means they will probably have to cut jobs due to a drop in revenue. Remember, revenue is income. So if you're only working 6 days a week, you get less than 7, so they'll have a drop in income. You'll have to work less, pay less value-added tax, VAT, and less payroll tax. And if be layoff staff. Tina, what does layoff staff mean?
Being fired.
That's right. It's slightly different. There's fired, there's sacked, and laid off. Actually, sorry, LAID. Laid off. Now, two of those are the same. Which two are the same? So one has a slightly different meaning.
Sacked and laid off is the same.
Fired and sacked is the same.
Oh.
So what's the difference? Would you like to be fired or laid off?
Laid off.
Right, correct. Why?
Because you can take money.
Yes, you can get some money. Now, so one of these means you're doing your job properly, but there's not enough work. And so because there's not enough work, you lose your job. It's not because you're not good at your job, it's because there's not enough work. So which one is it, laid off or the other two?
Laid off.
That's right. So here, laid off means, I'm sorry, we'd love to keep you, but we just don't have enough work for you. Fired and sacked means you're useless. You might have hit the manager or you're just lazy. So they fire you or sack you. They throw you out. So these two are very negative. And you just you just get thrown out. If you're laid off, there's not enough work. And yes, you're right, you may get what we call in Australia redundancy. Redundancy payment. A redundancy, if you're made redundant, I just typed that there for you. If you're made redundant, that means you're laid off because there's no more work. So perhaps the firm will shut down or they just cut their staff. But if you're made redundant, generally in Australia, you will get redundancy payment, which is usually about 12 weeks' pay. So it's just a payment that you are legally entitled to under the laws of Australia that gives you some money until you're able to get another job. Okay? So these bakers, we'll have to lay off staff. So lay off staff is make them redundant. We have to lay them off because there's no more jobs. So another of these convicted bakers, in this paragraph here, Tina, there's a word that means the opposite to convicted. So what word is it? So if you convict somebody, what is the word that you're not convicted? So it's in this paragraph here. Means the opposite meaning. It begins with A and ends in D.
Is not guilty.
That's right. So
acquitted
means not guilty. So acquitted and convicted are opposite words. They're used in court. So if Tina, if you hit your husband with a frying pan and killed him, do you want to be convicted or acquitted?
Acquitted.
That's right, acquitted. It's better to be acquitted. Okay, so another easy convicted. I have been left with a criminal record just for baking bread. Tomorrow I have to lay people off. France is doing everything to find jobs for those who are looking, but me. Because I make bread, I have to lay people off. What's the criminal record, Tina?
If you do something wrong, and you will record and will show up.
That's right. So a criminal record, I've typed in there, is the result of being convicted in the court of a crime. And yes, when we look up Tina, if you were convicted of hitting your husband, we would find murder next to you. You'd probably still be in jail, actually. But if you're convicted of you have a criminal record, and it usually stays there for the rest of your life, so it's not a good thing to have. Okay, now, if you said this guy talking, so one of the convicted bakers, he said, I'm going to say what he might have said on the radio using the same tone, and I want you to tell me how you think he's feeling. Okay, so I'll just read it to you as he might have said it, how you think he's feeling. I've been left with a criminal record just for baking bread. Tomorrow I'll have to lay people off. France is doing everything to find jobs for those who are looking but me, because I make bread. How's he feeling? Tina, how's he feeling?
I can forgive him.
You sound weird. You sound like a robot. Is there something wrong over there?
All right, just hang on 1 minute.
Okay.
Hello.
Oh.
Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Yes, all right. Thank you, Winnie.
I hear you.
Right. So we're back on French bakers. Octino, you were going to tell me how you think this guy feels. Sorry, sometimes the sound goes a bit strange.
I think I will forgive him.
I'm not asking you to forgive him. How does he feel at having to lay people off, and he's got a criminal record just for baking bread? How would you feel if you got a criminal record for baking bread?
Feel angry.
Angry, that's
Angry.
right. He's very, very angry. So why is he angry?
You think it is not wrong?
No, he should be allowed to work. Tina, can you bake?
No.
Why not?
I want to eat bread. I will buy.
Okay, well, for next week, I think you should bake a cake for the class.
If I bake a cake, the cake is not delicious.
Okay, thank you. Now, the baker's plight. Plight is problem. So he's like, the baker's problem hit the headlines in February after Stéphane Cazenavas, I think France's top baguette baker, vented his fury. That means showed everybody how angry he was over being ordered to close his shop on Mondays. He estimated the rule would cost him $250,000 a year and forced him to lay off some of his 22 staff. So we can work out from this, he's got a very big bakery, he's got 22 staff, and one day loss per year will cost him €250,000, that means. Now, baguette. Sam, do you know what a baguette is?
No.
I'm going to show you a picture. We call it French stick bread. And it's very popular in Australia. Have you seen that before?
Yes.
Right, it's called a baguette, which is a French word meaning that. Do you get this in Taiwan?
Sometimes.
As I say, it's very popular in Australia because they chop it up and make sandwiches and charge you twice as much. Right, now if we go back to our how the slides won't change. Just a minute. Starbucks too far.
Nicholas, while you are looking for your material, let me ask you a question about baguette. And when I buy one, it tends to get dry in days. Yes. I don't know how to make it, fresh and moisture again. I want to know if you have to buy daily If you have to
Yes,
buy it daily.
You buy it on the same day you use it. Otherwise, it's horrible.
Okay, I see.
See, there you are. Here we are. Just a minute, please. I put a new software program on my computer called Snagit, and it keeps coming on. Just let me put it off. Okay. Now, so he's going to lose a lot of his money because he has to lay off staff because of this ruling that he has to close. I'm treated like a thug because I am asked to, just because I asked to work. Now, this guy has won Best Baguette of France award for his crusty loaves. Working shouldn't be a crime in France, but the socialist government pointed out the bakers themselves helped to write the current rules. Dylan, is this guy a good baker, do you think?
Yes.
All right. Now, his name's Mr. Kazanov. How do you know he's a good baker?
Because he winner of the best baker.
Yep. That means he's a good baker. Now, we talked about baguettes. What is the other phrase in this paragraph which means the same as a baguette? So what is the phrase in the paragraph that means the same as a baguette? So remember, baguette is bread. So what's the phrase in that paragraph which means bread?
No. No. Crusty loaf.
That's right. And the crust is the top of the bread. So that brown bit. So these are crusty. When you break them open, there's a lot of crust. Now, bin.
Good morning, Nicholas.
Hi, Bin. We've got a very angry baker. What's the response of the government to these objections from this baker?
Could you say again?
Yeah, this baker's very angry. Now, the government response is in this paragraph. What are the government saying? The government feel no or feel nothing for this baker because they think he's brought it. They think the bakers are responsible for the problem. Why?
I'm thinking. I don't know.
what do the bakers do?
They have to make the current rules.
Yep.
They
help.
have
The bakers said we don't want to work 7 days a week. They help write that law. So the government says not our problem, it's the bakers. Or some of them. Okay? Bin, do you like bread?
So-so.
So. So what would you prefer as a snack? Instead of bread, what would you eat?
Chocolate.
Chocolate, not noodles.
Yeah.
How about chocolate noodles?
I never heard. I never seen noodle is made of chocolate.
Neither have I. That's a market opportunity for you. You could start selling chocolate noodles. I'm sure Winnie would eat them. All right. Shall we have a break, Pearl?
Okay. But before that, I think, for chocolate recipe, there is cold chocolate pasta, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you make it into salad, it's weird, Yeah, but I think there is chocolate pasta, right? Salad.
Yeah, you can get chocolate cockroaches too.
I know there is chocolate hot pot.
Chocolate cockroach?
Yeah.
Where?
They dip them in chocolate.
Where? In Australia? Desert?
No, not in Australia. We just kill the cockroaches.
Okay, in Africa, they must have a very huge cockroach, right?
Just a minute.
They have a oh my God.
They are
this
chocolate
is real?
cockroaches. Dipped in chocolate. They're very crunchy.
It looks like,
Is there a real
thing?
bug inside?
No.
No. Oh, okay.
At least not the ones I'm looking at. Having said that, look at this.
No, I think they look like mouse. Oh, but is this real?
They look a bit real to me, that one.
Okay, this is for cake, right? Cake decoration. Is it for
I
cake
don't know,
decoration?
Pearl. It's not the sort of cake I'd buy. Yeah.
People will come up with really weird things these days.
It's horrible.
Don't forget
All
you
right.
want to show us the. Don't forget you want to show us the Christmas decoration on the street.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes, well, I'll do that
Okay.
next week, just before Christmas.
Okay.
All right, so 10 minutes and then we'll go on to the presentations.
Okay.
Okay.
Every country has its own special culture. Oh, I know. I see. Hawaii has surfer culture. Japan has small culture. And Taiwan, scooter culture. Hello, Nicholas.
Hello.
Our members are Lei, Dylan, and Bin. Our presentation is is to talking about scooter culture in Taiwan. Okay. Okay. 为什么都要这样拉呢？诶 So, why Taiwanese ride scooters? If you come visit Taiwan, you'll find there are scooters everywhere. So, why Taiwanese prefer riding scooters? 有点麻烦，为什么会这样子啊？键盘在哪里？键盘在桌上。不是这个。为什么会一直跑？是不是太好转？直接往下滑。都一双滑手去拉很麻烦。为什么会这样啊？好讨厌哦。Sorry, wait a minute. 怎么会这样子啊？哦。Okay, so why Taiwanese prefer riding scooter? Because Taiwan is a small island which is highly populated. It is not convenient to park a compact car to park a scooter. So most Taiwanese prefer scooters as their transportation. Now, how old do Taiwanese ride scooters the first time? Although the legal driving age of Taiwan citizens is 18, there are many people begin to ride a scooter in senior high school or even in junior high school. In Taiwan, unlicensed driving of high school students is a serious problem because it causes a lot of traffic collisions.
I'm going to talking about the strange situation of riding scooters in Taiwan. And the motor vehicle density in Taipei City is about 3,820 square kilometers. It is actually the highest amount in Taiwan. Hey. 卡住了。那没叮当。对。This photo This photo was taken by a Japanese TV program. The Japanese TV program decided to capture the view of office workers who was going to work during the rush hours on the Taipei Bridge, and all of the guests and hosts in his Japanese TV program were extremely surprised by the spectacular of the waterfall on the Taipei Bridge, and this is called the waterfall on the Taipei Bridge. And unexpectedly, there are more and more people coming to Taipei and taking a look of this strange situation. All of them had the same responses. Are that unbelievable? I dare not ride a motorcycle through this bridge. And the next is turning left in 2 sections. To protect the safety of motorcyclists, there is still a rule to obey, and that is turning left in 2 sections. And these are the other different ways of turning left in 2 sections in each area. The motorcyclists in northern Taiwan always obey the standard rules of turning left in 2 sections, and this is the right way of turning left in 2 sections. And in the central Taiwan, the motorcyclists often follow after the car when turning left, and this is not the right way of turning left in 2 sections. In southern Taiwan, when this road is green light, the motorcyclists always follow the standard rules of turning left in 2 sections. And when this road is turning to red light, the motorcyclists will turn to this point and turn to this road. And this is also not the right way of turning left in 2 sections. And the difference of motorcyclist habits. In the northern Taiwan, the motorcyclists in this area always rush to be the number 1 when the traffic light turns into the green light at the first second. And actually, it is not really good to fight for these few seconds. Due to this condition, the brake pad of the scooter was ruined at a higher rank than other areas. In central Taiwan, the biggest feature of motorcyclists in central Taiwan is that following the cars when turning left in 2 sections. The motorcyclists in southern Taiwan don't observe and follow the traffic light and stop at any moment he likes.
And then I want to introduce the common situation when reading scooter in Taiwan. A total of 5. First, what is total? 5. The first is uneven road. In Taiwan, the road like rough move is is dangerous because the water corporation or power company often rebuild the new facility under the road. After they complete the project, they will repave the part of the road as a picture. And so next, when the raining day, the road surface get water and slippery. That are often main reason for accident. And a lot of people put up at the traffic light and smoke. So on the road, we often put second-hand smoke affect health. But on the road, not only have second-hand smoke, but have waste gas because scooter is too old. At last, the door. We don't know whether the door opens or not. Second, you get hot. So we need to be careful when reading.
Hi. Let's talk. Give scooters a try when traveling in Taiwan. If you come visit Taiwan, you could consider ride a scooter as your transportation. You could, 怎么会重复呢? Okay, although there may be some situations happening as mentioned before, it is still sorry. There is a little technique problem. Although there is such a situation mentioned before, it is still worth giving it a try. Why? because you can experience the real Taiwanese daily life firsthand. And in addition, it will be very convenient to change destination if you ride a scooter. Thank you for your time. Thank you. So, Nicholas, do you have any question? You can ask us.
Do you have a scooter?
这样看得到。Oh, do we have a scooter? Yes, I myself has a scooter. How about the other two? No. Are you safe or bad driver? I think I am a safe driver, rider. I always 遵守交通规则 follow the traffic rules, obey the
Right.
rules.
Do you think scooters are safe?
Do you think scooters are safe? It is dangerous than driving car, but considered to is because it is so convenient. So I think the dangerous is 可接受的acceptable.
We call them donor cycles in
We
Australia.
call them donor cycles in Australia. Donor cycle. Oh, I see. Donor cycles. Interesting.
Organ donation when you get killed. There are lots of organ donations when you get killed. Okay.
Yes, the riding scooter is more dangerous. It's right, but I think it is a acceptable 风险。
I think that in Taiwan, your scooter culture is much more
Nicholas,
advanced
you were
than
saying
Australia,
that for
and people
donor
are probably
cycles,
more
you're
aware of the
saying,
problem.
I was wondering, because here in Taiwan, you have to sign up a donor card. All the parents, all the parents can make decision for you, so that they can get your usable organs for others. How about in Australia?
Yeah.
I mean, do you have to
It's
get
the same in
permission from the
Australia,
relatives or the deceased?
Let us start our presentation, and we are talking about Starbucks. And I'm going to tell this company history. And this company already has 44 years history. And the story will begin in 1971, on March 30 in 1971. And this story, back then, of the founders, free of the coffee lovers. They were only the roaster and the retailers, selling whole beans and ground coffee, tea and spice, with a single store in Sato Pike Place Market in Washington, USA. And today, they're privileged to connect with millions of customers every day with exceptional products and more than 22,000 retail stores in 67 countries. And I'm going to introduce the CEO, Howard D. In 1981, he is really interested about this company, and he went to the store, and he is really interested about their product. So in 1982, he joined the Starbucks as the director of the marketing. And in the same year, he went to Milan, Italy, for Starbucks. And now there he noticed that there's coffee bars and existing everywhere, every street. So he learned, and also he learns excellent espresso and the meeting place and the public square. It is called it is just like the cave in nowadays. And later in 1983, he went back to America, and he thinks that this is a really good idea and want to introduce to his boss and start the cave in America. And finally, it is really a good idea and succeed very well. But his boss thinks it is not a good idea because they don't want to change, and he was really frustrated, so he quit it. And so he quit it, and he set his own company, his own cave, and called Gorando. I don't know how to pronounce these words, but just look at the screen. And in 1987, for a few years, his company really take over Starbucks. So he bought Starbucks, and two of the company combined together. And next, I'm going to talk about the name of Starbucks and its logo. Starbucks is named after the first mate in Moby Dick list book, and its logo is also inspired by the sea, featuring the twin-tailed siren from Greek mythology. So in the bottom of the screen, you can look some logo. As I told you, in 1987, these two companies combined together to the new Starbucks, and in other years they changed their logo. And next, I'm going to talk the coffee. The things that they always believe that in serving the best coffee impossible, and they go for all of the coffee to be grown under the highest standard of quality, using ethical sourcing practices. And the coffee buyers probably travel to the coffee farms like Latin America, Africa, Asia to select the high quality beans. And the master roaster will bring out the balance and the rich flavor of the beans through the signature Starbucks roast. And next is about their store. Their store will be like a neighborhood gathering place for meeting friends, family, and the customer can enjoy the quality service, like the inviting atmosphere and the exceptional beverage. And now you can know that the total store all over the world already have 22,519 stores. And next, let's look at the video. The video. Wait a minute. 影片要好。Where？ 网址哦，我哪记得网址？然后你去查。Okay, because of the technical problem, so we will. Okay, we will put the video later. And next is the timeline. In 1971, they have their first store. In 1982, they began to provide coffee in the fine restaurant and the espresso bars. In 1987, they changed their name, Starbucks cooperation. In 1991, it is really important in this year. They become the first private-owned U.S. company to offer the stock option program. In 1998, they opened the store also in Taiwan. In 2008, they joined Twitter and the Facebook page. And finally, in 2015, they have the total store, 22,519 stores. In the future, their CEO believes that it's digital. The digital can change their company in a better way. So in October 2015, Starbucks hired its first chief technology officer, Gary Martin Flickinger, to lead their technology team. And Starbucks launched their update to their mobile app in 2015. And the app allows customers to place their orders, pay and pick up.
Hi, Nicholas. I'm Rita, and let's talk about corporation social responsibility. What is the role and responsibility for a for-profit public company? There are 3 points about corporation social responsibility in Starbucks. About 100% ethical sourcing, environmental impact, and community improvement. About 100% ethical sourcing. The cornerstone of its approach is Coffee and Farmer Equity (CAFE) practice, the comprehensive coffee buying program that ensures coffee quality while promoting social, economic, and environmental standards. CAFE practice, which they developed in cooperation with Conservation International a decade ago, has created significant social and economic impact for more than 1 million workers and environmental improvement on the thousands of participating funds. Let's see a short film. 这也不能按，是不是啊？它也不能按，那怎么办呢？所以，我应该要let's see a video lecture. Okay, let's talk about environmental impact. They are committed to addressing climate change by minimizing our environmental footprint and creating meaningful and sustained change. This work includes the approach to green retail, building more energy-efficient stores and facilities, conserving energy and water, investing in renewable energy, and making costs sustainable. Since 2008, Starbucks has worked to build all new company-operated stores globally to these standards. In 2014, Starbucks opened the 500th certified store, more than any other retailer in the world. They are continue to make strides in water conservation by implementing water saving solutions in new stores. These certified stores have contributed to this progress by saving an average of cooperating with municipality in water-stressed areas around the world to find additional ways to help reduce water consumption. In addition to reduce water and energy consumption, Starbucks is focused on advancing renewable energy sources through purchasing practice. For almost a decade, Starbucks has been one of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's top purchasers of renewable energy in the United States. Although they have applied renewable energy purchase to their total global energy footprint, the renewable energy credits purchase were primarily designed to spur development of the U.S. renewable energy market. Reusable cups are an important component of Starbucks' overall waste reduction strategy. For 30 years, they've rewarded customers with a discount when we bring in a personal tumbler. It is their goal to serve 5% of the beverage made in stores in tumblers and mugs brought in by customers. They will continue to look for ways to encourage customers to make the switch to reusable cups. About community improvement, Starbucks Community Store programs support local non-profit organizations in their efforts to provide the training and education that can eradicate the cycle of poverty for this generation of young people. Since opening their first community store in 2011, Starbucks has opened 8 stores and raised over $900,000 toward local nonprofits focused on providing opportunities to young people in those communities. The community stores model creates a reliable stream of resources for the nonprofit organization, raise an awareness of their work, and create a space for community dialogue and engagement. In 2014, Starbucks added its second international location in South Korea, as well as 2 military community stores to support transitioning veterans in the United States in Lakewood, Washington, and San Antonio, Texas. On the other hand, there is one report in July 2015. Starbucks Corporation is teaming up with more than a dozen companies in a commitment to increase hiring of young minority workers over the next 3 years. They have pledged to hire 100,000 mostly the next 3 years. To hire 100,000 most low-income 16 to 24 years old as apprentices, interns, and part and full-time employees by 2018. Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks Company, said, "We are not displacing jobs, but creating incremental opportunity in most of these companies. Job creation has been a central cause." Mr. Schultz in 2011 teamed Starbucks up with community financial institutions for a program called Create Jobs for USA, in which donations from Starbucks customers, employees, and others were poured to fund community business lending.
Hello, Nicholas. I'm Nick. I will be introduced about the Starbucks event. There are many strategies to attract customers to Starbucks to consume to buy coffee. And one of the most successful events in the U.S. is called the My Starbucks reward program. And the Starbucks reward program is you buy a Starbucks card, and each time you purchase a coffee, then you earn a star. And you have three levels. Which is the welcome level. For the welcome level, you get a free drink on your birthday. On your birthday. And once you got like 10 stars, then you will level up to the green level, which is you get to refill your coffee. And once you have 30 stars, you will get to the toppest level, which is the gold level. And for the gold level, you get a personalized card and free drink for every 12 stars you spend. Like for every 12 stars you earn. And for the event in Taiwan is the recently like the Starbucks has a few Christmas events in Taiwan. For instance, share with a friend, and you buy one drink, you get a second one for free, and it only on like December 12th, December 21st, and December 23rd. And also, if you have a on the go card, which you can purchase in Starbucks, and you get like 50% off on your next purchase, and you will get like a little coupon. And for next purchase, you get like 50% off. And our presentation. Oh, and we will show you the video now.
Wow, thế thật.
Huh? Okay.
Mm.
为什么 You may want to update the browser. Because here you're using the old version. Okay. Okay. Nicholas, do you have any questions?
Can you hear me?
I think it's their business responsibility, and also the way they sell the coffee. They make coffee like they put the coffee to in our daily life, and it does not cost many bucks. And I think that's why it's so successful.
Can you hear me? No.
No.
Yes. You are. Yes, we can hear you. Yes. How's the business model? Business model.
Is coffee popular in Taiwan?
Of course. Very popular in Taiwan.
Nicholas, is the price of Starbucks drink the same? You know, here, cross-culturally? How much would it cost you in
Yep.
Not at all.
You know, Greg used to work as a Starbucks barista, so we can ask him what the price of those three kind of drinks. Greg, cappuccino 多少钱?
In Australia, it would cost us about $5 for a large cup. I think that's about 100 and something Taiwanese.
差不多，对不对？We think it's about the same. It will cost us over 110.
Right.
Yeah, cappuccino 都一样吧？
But it's interesting, Pearl. Milk is not popular in Asia, but obviously they like it in coffee.
Yeah, in latte. Yeah, they like it in latte. But I always have it black. And I think 7-Eleven is fine with me. It cost me like 45 NT. I don't find the black coffee.
Is iced coffee popular?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Iced coffee, oh yes, among young people. They always have coffee iced. But we older generation prefer it hot.
Do you have frappe?
I think so. You're not.
Yes, we do.
Yes. Anyway, I think Starbucks is very popular here. You know, going there or with a cup of Starbucks cup in your hands means you are what? You belong to you are a cultured person. I think in and out. Tech crowd is cutting. The what is cutting in and out? The what? The sound? Did you say the sound is cutting in and out? What's interesting is that we think you were asking that why is Starbucks successful? 不管，那我们要自己讲，我们要录一次。对啊，You were asking that you asked us why is Starbucks so successful, and I think Greg said he used to work there. He said that they enjoy because the service is good, the people are polite, but you know they get only minimum pay. Not very good pay job, and they have, you know, you have to remember all those names. I enjoy watching them murmuring to each other when we place an order.
And they're very popular in Australia as well.
Do you have alternatives of coffee besides Starbucks?
Yes.
Like
something called Gloria Jean.
Also,
and also McCoffee. That's McDonald's.
Yeah, I think McDonald's coffee is also it's okay.
It's quite good here.
McDonald's? How much it cost
Yep.
you to
We
have
call it McCoffee. Again, same price, $5.
That's too much.
You get it for $4 if you buy chips.
That's
You have chips
still
and coffee and a hamburger.
I think, you know, sometimes, you know, I think in some months they gave you free coffee Monday morning. I don't know if they still have that kind of campaign or not. You can just walk in and say, I want a cup of free coffee at McDonald's on Monday morning.
You can still buy ordinary coffee from McDonald's, which is free.
The coffee is free at McDonald's?
Only the cheap stuff. Instant.
Okay. I see. We were getting the instant coffee as well when they gave us free. You can just walk in without, you know, anyone on Monday morning. I think there's certain months, but I don't
Give
think
it to
they
you
are
free
running
to buy a
it.
meal.
Not here. You have to come in a set of meal.
Pearl, the sound is cutting in and out and you're breaking up.
Is it because our microphone? How about now? Is it better? Okay. The sound is breaking up. So what's your suggestion? We take a break? Or what? Or we continue? Let's take a break, 5 minutes, okay? 5-minute break. 谁打一下？并打一下。5-minute break. 他说我们的声音 breaking up.
It is at the moment. Yes.
Okay, let's take a break and let the class shape up a bit.
Okay. Okay? Bug China, tell me what this is. Describe. Bug Chin, can you hear me? Wakey wakey.
Hey, hi.
Describe that picture.
A baby with an... What's that animal?
Squirrel.
Squirrel. Squirrels on the baby's head.
Alright. Describe what is on the baby's head.
Huh?
What sort of hat is the baby wearing?
Oh, a pink hat.
And what other colour?
And white.
Alright, how do you describe the pattern?
I don't know.
Stripes. Pink and white stripes. Alright. Now, what do you call this thing?
Fence.
A hedge. And what do you call this? The baby's in. You could call it a pram, which is what we call it. Some people call it a stroller. It means you walk next to it, and other people may have other names, but pram is the one we use in Australia. Were you in? Is this a healthy situation? Is this good?
No, it's quite dangerous.
No,
I think.
it is. Because squirrels carry disease, and it may bite the baby. So it's probably not a good idea to let squirrels. They're very cute, but not good. Okay, thank you, Doug. Joe. No Joe. Jason.
Hello,
What's the name of this animal?
Well, it's
It begins with M. And it ends in oos.
A moose.
That's right, it's a moose. Alright, what do you call these things? Begins with A. Antlers. So it's a moose with antlers. What do you call this?
No.
No, that's good. So it's a moose. Use a word to describe the antlers, an adjective.
moose with the answers on the snow. On the snow.
All right. Huge antlers. This is a
wolf or dog. Wolf. Maybe a wolf.
all right.
Dog.
I think it's probably a dog. I'm not sure. And what's the problem?
They are fighting.
Well, they could be soon. But this weighs about 300 kilos. And the dog probably weighs 20. So we know who's going to win. Do you know where mooses are? Or do you know what country this might be in?
Canada.
Yes. Good. Yes. Canada. Canada's the only real place that's got moose anymore. I think moose is a plural word. We don't say mooses.
Oh.
Now, there's another form of moose, which is that. What's that moose?
A snack. A dessert.
All right, yes, there's a snack as well. There's still another moose. Girls use it on their hair.
Oh, lamb mousse. Oh, yes. Lamb.
Yeah, it's like a hair gel. They call it mousse. In fact, boys use it as well. Have you got gel on your hair?
No, I don't use mousse.
No. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sam.
Hello.
Right, I'll start you off. That's the dog. What's it doing to the man? What sort of man? Or use a word to describe that man. What's he doing in the jungle?
Climb the tree.
All right. Well, he's climbing trees. Why is he climbing the tree?
To prevent from the dog.
To what from the dog?
Run away.
Escape from the dog. So why is he? How would you describe this? The dog is what?
Eater.
Not eating.
Fight.
That might come later. Yeah. Biting. Biting him where? On his
Bum.
Yeah, bum. Or backside. He's not a very good climber, is he? We don't know what's going on here. But we call this an Alsatian. Or a German Shepherd. And they're actually guard dogs. They're used as guard dog. What is a guard dog?
To guard the jungle.
Yeah, well, guard. Sam, do you like dogs?
So.
Why?
Hi.
Why don't you like dogs? Why are you so towards dogs?
I don't know. Just I don't know.
Are you scared of them?
No.
Seriously? Okay. So can you pat a dog? Or stroke?
Yes. Yes.
Pat means, can you stroke a cat?
Yes, yes, I can. Do it.
My partner hates any animals with fur.
Oh.
She doesn't like, she won't pat a dog, she won't stroke cat.
But you have a cat, right?
I have a cat, correct. So whenever I want to get rid of it, I bring the cat into the room.
Who comes to the house first? Who comes to your household first, the cat or the woman?
I had a cat before she came.
Okay.
And
so
I
you
can
can.
replace it. We've been together 12 years.
And the cat
And
is
about
over
7
12
years
years
ago,
old?
we got the new one. The cat is what?
The cat, so I thought the cat is more than 12 years old.
No, they live about 15 years. So I've had cats for 30 years now. 3. I'm on my third one.
Okay.
It's about 4 or 6 years old, the present one.
So your partner has been very tolerant of you.
The cats don't bother her, and she doesn't bother the cat. So
And she has
there is a truce.
Okay. So she has never grown to be fond of the cat at all?
Never ever. She wants to buy a Saluki dog. They're a bit like a greyhound.
Can you show us the picture?
Yes, I
Saluki
will. They're hairless, or very little hair. Actually, says he.
Is it a big dog or a small dog?
It's a fairly big dog, actually. Just a minute. They're very sort of tall and thin.
Yeah, this
they're about.
I think it's a hunting dog, right?
Meter high. Yes.
Yeah.
And they have to be.
You have to
they
walk
have to run every day.
Yeah. It'll keep you
Otherwise,
fit.
they get lazy.
Yeah. And
like Sam, he needs a dog to make him run.
Okay. But so far you hasn't agreed to let Saluki in the house, right?
Well, if she wants to look after it, that's fine.
And the problem
But she
is?
wants me to look after it. That's the
And I
problem.
guess the
So
dog-
as soon as she
Yeah,
agrees
I don't
to
think-
take her for a walk every day, I've got no problem.
And I've got no problem. And the dog and the cat can get along? Probably have to take time.
Apparently.
Yeah. Eventually.
I don't know. I haven't tried. Eventually.
Well, I used to have, I used to have a dog, and then we have a cat, and then they eventually learned that during the daytime they are the only two animals in the house. So later on they grew to be friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll see you next week then.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye now. Have a good week.